$500 million on one player?
Well, I think that,
on one player?
I think the money will be exaggerated, and of course there's a lot goes into the salary as well. I do think
Madrid doesn't need help in a lot more places?
Oh, Madrid, like a lot of clubs, need to make big decisions in terms of how they're going to balance it. But as the boys have pointed out, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. The money, I can't comment on what kind of money will be there. But I think come the summer, you know, I think the time would be right come the summer for him to make that move. He's got more than enough experience now. He's got the medals in the bag. He's had the success with France. He has the experience. I think going at 20 or 21 years old, around about thereabouts, you're going to potentially have a decade, if you're injury-free, a decade of great success as an individual and, you know, hopefully from a club perspective. And I think the time is not far away from him making that move. How they balance the whole squad and financial things, well, I'll leave that up to other people.
I think that's the thing. Just as a pure talent, as who soon will be the premier talent in world football, yes, listen, Real Madrid go out and go after that ilk of player. Now, how they do the numbers is entirely up to them. And $500 million on one player, I never thought we'd be having this discussion, but then at the same time, I didn't think we'd be talking about 250 million or whatever it was for Neymar. Similarly, though, and as Jules points out, PSG may want to offer Mbappe similar terms as Neymar. And now, if I'm not mistaken, PSG similarly have financial fair play issues. And now to put another player on that kind of money, is your assumption that Neymar is going to leave? And if so, on what terms, especially given what we saw play out over the course of this summer? This is intriguing to me.
When you sign Eden Hazard in the summer, you're signing a guy who's been there, seen it, done it, and he's a very exciting player. But this is another level.
Yeah.
This is a different stratosphere.
Different stratosphere than Hazard.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because of the age scenario as well. Because of the age scenario and the excitement levels. I mean, Eden Hazard is a very, very good player. This guy...
Who's going to defend for this team? Who's going to defend for Real Madrid?
Don't worry about that. We worry about that later on.
Well, what I'm saying is, I think this is more exciting than, say, there was talk previously of bringing Neymar in. That he was going to PSG as a bridge to get him from Barcelona to Real Madrid. We know that boat has sailed a little, that ship has sailed a little bit, it seems. But I think this would be a signing that just gets Real Madrid, and I think football fans in general, just sitting back and going, wow, this has to be watched. That's how exciting this kid is.
Jules, give us your instinct here. What do you think is going to happen next summer?
So, I mean, my heart, first of all, says, you know, please stay with us for a little longer. My mind says... I mean, first, just quickly the money. PSG believe that he's worth now between 300 and 400 million euros, which is a hell of money, and you know, not everybody can afford that, and they're not even sure that Real Madrid can afford it. So this is where it is. And even if Mbappe says, I want to go to Real Madrid, they'll say, okay, if they show us the money and we find an agreement, no problem. If you don't want to be here, we can let you go. But until they show the money on the table, then PSG will say, like, well, we don't know if anyone can afford you. I think he will stay another year. The thing for Real Madrid is the more they wait, the more expensive it will going to be. If you do a deal with him before the Euros, you might avoid an extra 50 or 100 million because he might lead France to winning the Euros. If you wait another year, and let's say win the Champions League with PSG as well, then that would add another 50 or 100 million on someone who would have won the World Cup, the Euros, and the Champions League, all that before the age of 22. So it would make sense for Real Madrid to try their best to make it this summer. I don't think PSG will want to lose both Neymar and Mbappe in the same summer. They would be crazy to do that. And I think if one has to go come next summer, it will have to be Neymar more than Mbappe. But again, with players' power now, you could not, you know, guess it or imagine what can happen.
He's worth more than Jules' turtleneck, put it that way.
Oh, okay, easy. Gab, go on. I know you had something to say.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I totally take Jules' point. Like, as he grows, as Ronaldo and Messi age, if he continues on that upward trajectory, he gets more and more expensive. Equally, though, and yes, I'm being a conspiracy theorist here, if you can get a deal in place with him now, every year that passes and he does not extend his contract with Paris Saint-Germain, I think he's got, Jules will tell us, but I think it's 3 years now that he's got left. If you can get him on board and say, listen, we can't afford you now, but don't extend your contract. Let's get this deal in place, and maybe in a year or two, wind it down, and then all of a sudden, it might be a different issue. And I think equally, Paris Saint-Germain will be aware of that. So it's something that can work both ways. The one thing I would say is we rarely see Real Madrid playing that long game with players, certainly not in the Florentino Perez era.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.